Good morning. So yesterday we looked at using efficient multiplication, but we did it for quite big numbers. What I thought we'd do today is I'd just show you how we can use multiplication to help us with our times tables, like on times tables, rock stars and things like that. So I'm going to talk you through some examples of how we can do this. Then all I want you to do for today's lesson is go on to times tables, rock stars and have a go at applying some of these methods. It's really important that you understand that when you know some times tables, you actually know more than what you think, just by using the multiplication and the efficient methods that we can use to make it easier. I'll show you some examples on the next few slides. So here we have one method that you might be able to be using efficient multiplication to help you. So when we've got our times tables and we're on times tables rock stars and we get faced with a times table that we think, I don't know that times table, we can use our multiplication that we know to help us. So let's have a look. 9 times 6. You might think to yourself, I don't know my 9 times tables and I don't know my 6 times tables. I'm going to start counting in my sixes, but I can't do that. It's too difficult. Let's think, which times tables do I know? Well, actually, I know my 5 times tables. So I'm going to do 9 times 5. And that's 45. My 5 times tables is much, much easier than my 9s or my 6s because I've been doing those for many, many years. But that only gives us the answer to 9 times 5. We need 9 times 6. That's one more that needs to be added on, okay? One more 9. So we then have got 6 groups of 9 now. So we add that extra 9 back on at the end. Much easier and much quicker to put 45 in our head and count on 9 to get to 54, rather than counting in our 9s or in our 6s. So always remember to think about, what times table do I know that I could use here to help me? These are called the near multiples. These are the ones that are the easiest to do. Again, 8 times 9. Well, I don't know my 8s and I don't know my 9s as well. Am I going to start counting in my 8s? No. Am I going to start counting in my 9s? No. What's close to times 9? Times 10. So I can do 8 times 10, which I can do quite easily because my 10 times table is easy, is 80. But I only need 9 lots of 8, not 10 lots of 8. So I need to take one lot of 8 away. So that gives me 80, take away 8 equals 72. So I now know that 8 times 9 is 72. I'm going to put a couple of examples on the next slide that I want you to have a go at. See if you can use your near multiples to help you. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers that we got. So let's look at the first one. So we had 7 times 6, and what does that equal? We could have done 7 times 5 is 35, and then we need to add one more lot of 7 on to get us the answer 42. Much quicker than working out 7 times 6. Do your 5 times tables, then add 7 on. Next one, there was 2 ways you could have done this because both numbers were near multiples. So what we could have done is we could have either done 4 times 10, which is 40, and then taken away one lot of 4 to get us 9 lots of 4. Or we could have done an extra 9. So we could have done 5 times 9 equals 45. And then we would have to take away an extra 9. It's making sure if you change the number that you change, you then take away the other number. Okay? And then the last one, 8 times 4. So we can do 8 times 5 is 40. And then take away the 8. Try and have a think about using near multiples when you're faced with a times table that you can't do. They only really work for your really near multiples, okay? I am going to look at some other methods with you though, just to help you a little bit more as well. Okay, so our next use of efficient multiplication can be to partition our numbers. When we get onto multiplication such as 11 or 12, we can then use partitioning. So I'll just show you a quick example, and then I want you to have a go at doing some multiplications by 11 and 12 using the partitioning method. Really simple method, easy times tables for us to use. Making sure, don't try and get faced with a 12 times tables question and going, I don't know my 12, so I can't do it. You can. If you use these methods, it will really help you. So let's just have a look. So we've got 12 times 7. We need to partition our number. So we've got 12, which is 10, and 2. We know our 10 times tables. We know our 2 times tables. So we can do 10 times 7 is 70. 2 times 7 is 14. And then we can add those together. If we needed to, you could have it written down. You could do it in your head. Do 70, add 10, add 4. Make it easier. Partition those numbers up a little bit more. Really simple method for you to know your 12 times tables. You know your 10s and your 2s. You can add those together, then you know your 12s. Okay, so our last look at efficient multiplication is for us to understand doubling and halving and how we can use those to help, okay? So if we look at doubling, we've got 8 times 4. So, might not know as 4s, might not know as 8s, but what we do know is we know our 2s. If we know our 2s, we know our 4s, we know our 8s. So we can look at it and go, right, I know my 2s, 8 times 2 is 16. I can then double 16 and that gets me 8 times 4. Much, much quicker than me going 4, 8, 12 and going up like that. Much quicker. Let's look at how you can do it now for your 8 times tables. So we've got 6 times 8. We can do our 2 times tables again. 6 times 2 is 12. Easy. We know our 2s. Then we can double 12. So double 12 is 24. That only gets us though to 6 times 4. We need to do 6 times 8. So we double it again because double 2 is 4, double 4 is 8. So we double 24 and that gets us 48. Have a go at a couple of these on the next slide and then the answers will be on the slide after. So here we've got our answers to our doubling questions from before. So 9 times 4, we can do 9 times 2, which is 18, and then we can double 18 to get 9 times 4, which is 36. And then with next one is 8 times 8, and we can do our 2 times tables. 8 times 2 is 16, double 16 to get 8 times 4, which is 32, and then double it again, so double 32 to get 8 times 8, which is 64. What I want you to do now is I want you to really have a bit of a play with this and go on to Times Tables Rockstars today and just spend a bit of time going through Studio, Soundcheck, Garage and trying to apply some of these skills that you've just learned to help you do much better on your times tables. I'll be having a check to see how you're getting on, so please try and play on it as much as you can. Okay, it's really important that we keep checking our times tables, and times tables is going to be really important for when we come back to school. When we come back to school, we're going to be looking at written multiplication. If we don't know our multiplication skills and our times tables knowledge isn't great, it's going to be much harder. So what I'd like you to do is try and spend a bit of time today and then maybe a little bit of time every day to see if you can get your times tables back up to where they should be. I'll speak to you on Monday. Have a nice weekend. Bye.